Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we have stopped at the applications of machine learning. It's better organizers please mute all the phones so that I can start the session. Okay. So here we are entering into the machine learning algorithms. So how machine learning is used in practice. So machine learning algorithms are only very small part of using machine learning in practice as a data analyst or data scientist. So mainly we need to focus on the understand the domain and prior knowledge and goals. That is the main important. Already we have discussed about this. And next thing is data integration, selection, cleaning and pre-processing is very important. This one. Why we need to have data integration is if you have a particular problem, as we have discussed in the morning session, that how many Apple laptops have been sold in 2021. In this case, this is I'm not asking particularly for the particular one location. So throughout the world, how many Apple laptops have been sold? That means you have to integrate, that means where the Apple laptop head office is there, how it is distributed to throughout the different countries, and each country we need to take the data from each country regarding the sale of the Apple laptops. So there we will be using a technique which is called as data integration. Next thing, when it comes to selection, we are talking about only Apple laptops. We are not talking about the laptops or cell phones or desktops, nothing. We are talking about only Apple laptops. There we need to select in a particular electronic shop. We will be having all the gadgets like cell phones, desktops, laptops, different brands laptops. So in this case, if you take a particular electronic shop, we will be considering only the Apple laptops in that store, so that there will be a selection. And next thing is cleaning is coming whatever the data we have stored, we need to clean it. How can we say that cleaning? In cleaning we have three techniques. One is if it contains any noise, if it contains any missing values, if there are inconsistency, all these three techniques comes under cleaning. So if you any redundancy is there, if there are repetitions are there. So for example, one day one of the customers may purchase the laptop and he may say that this laptop color is not or that is it doesn't have these features or that features, and it is not working properly. And similar way, on that day when he has purchased it, that is recorded. When he replaces that particular product also, that will be recorded. So in this case, it will be recorded in 2 days. So there you have to say that redundancy is there, but the only one product have been sold in that particular shop. So that in that type of scenario, we will say that is data cleaning is done. And all these techniques we need to take a pre-processing. All this technique comes under pre-processing. So here it is important to have high quality data. So if you have high quality data, and then only you can have a good result. Next part is, this is the very important part, that is learning models. You can use different types of tools. Like in order to perform machine learning techniques, if you want to do some supervised learning, and in supervised learning there are many techniques like decision trees, support vector machines, neural networks, etc. Like that, many logistic regression and all these things comes under the supervised learning. So in this case, or classification. In this case, we have different types of tools, like we can perform in the Python programming or in R programming or in Veka tool. Like that, there are many tools. So when it comes to the open source, these are all open source tools. So when it comes to this Python programming, all irrespective to this high level languages, this Python programming is now, it is very famous for machine learning techniques as well as the deep learning techniques. We have in this Python program, we have some editor that is supposed to be loaded, that is Anaconda, and in it you can perform all the front end, back end, and OpenCV applications also. So the most important back end, that is low level programming library that is available for this machine learning technique is TensorFlow. It's a backend tool and it is developed by Google. And next we have a Keras, that is a front-end tool, which is a high-level programming library. In Python programming, we have a lot of libraries. So each library will be performing each task. PyTorch Torch is also another library which is used for the computation of this machine learning technique. OpenCV is used for image processing and computer vision. And we have a library called as NumPy, which is used for numerical calculations. Skype is scientific calculation. Pandas, we have data manipulations can be done with this one. And Scikit and Sklearn are machine learning algorithms you can find. And Stat Models is a statistical learning library. Matplotlib is a data visualization library that is found. And Seaborn is, if you want to perform only basic data visualization, you can use Matplotlib. But if you want to go for advanced data visualization, you have to go for the library Seaborn. So here, all these libraries are available in Python language. So Python programming. So when you want to do the computation, you have to learn this Python programming in order and install these libraries in order to perform this learning models. Okay, that is the main important thing that we have to know about the programming task that for the computation of these libraries. Next is interpreting the results. Sometimes it doesn't matter how model works, but only thing is, in order to know whether it is performing in a good way or in a satisfactory way or in a better way, that we can do by only if we represent the results or interpret the results. So we have to have a model which is understandable, and we have to visualize those data whatever the outcome that is generated. And it is very challenging task for the humans, because basing on this interpreting results, only decision making will be happening in industries or in any particular domain. Okay, in expertise. Next, last one is consolidating and deploying discovered knowledge. Majority of projects that are successful in lab not used in practice, but it is hard. It is very hard to get something used. That means whatever the majority of projects that we have done, if it is successful, then it should be used in practice so that we can say whether it is become success or not. That is the major task that we have to go. Now we'll see different types of machine learning algorithms. These machine learning algorithms are classified into 4 different learning, that is categorized into 4 different. One is supervised learning, another one is unsupervised learning, and semi-supervised learning and reinforcement learning. So supervised learning, other name for the supervised learning is classification. There are many supervised algorithms or classification algorithms. Unsupervised learning is the clustering. And semi-supervised learning is you in a particular data. Here, when it comes to the supervised learning, the data set contains the class labels. Data contains along with the features, it contains the class labels. When it comes to the unsupervised learning, you will have the data, but you will not have the class labels. So the unsupervised learning uses the algorithms, clustering algorithms, in order to group the data. Okay, and when it comes to the semi-supervised learning, you will be having both labeled data and unlabeled data. Okay, that is the unsupervised learning. Next one, reinforcement learning is, it's an active learning. It depends upon the decision making, it depends upon the rewards. Okay. So now we'll see what is meant by supervised learning. This algorithm, supervised learning algorithms are trained using labeled examples such as input when desired output is known. Here we know what is the desired output. That means we know when a customer walks into the electronic shop or a supermarket or anything, we'll say the data contains whether he bought a computer or he doesn't buy it. That means he buys a computer. So basing on this data, we'll be developing a model, and the model will be used for the prediction or forecasting if a person has these features will buy a computer. For example, those who have thought data mining, you have been seen this an application with a data set of whether the customer will buy a computer or not. So when the here in that Hannon Camber textbook, you will be having 14 samples or 14 records, and with 4 features and 1 class label. The feature is here whether he is a student or not, what is his age, what is his credit rating, and what is his income. So basing on this parameters, we are able to say that whether he will buy a computer or not. So the goal here for the supervised learning to achieve and produce the outcome. Okay, must produce the outcome. You should classify whether he will buy a computer. Yes or no. Okay, using classification and regression, we can achieve this supervised learning. Supervised learning algorithms can achieve this outcome or label of the data set by using classification or regression. When it comes to unsupervised learning, it is used against data that has no historical labels. But what it does is it organizes the data into a group of clusters to describe its structure and make complex data look simpler and organized for the analysis. So here what is basing on the similarities of the data objects that are present in that group will be grouped. So we don't know how, basing on the values only, we will group into clusters. That is unsupervised learning. No goal to achieve, no expected outcome or outcome. Using clustering and association can be done. Okay. When it comes to the semi-supervised learning is used for the same applications as supervised learning, but it uses both labeled and unlabeled data for training. And this type of learning can be used with methods such as classification, regression, and prediction. So identifying a person face on a webcam is the task of the semi-supervised learning. When it comes to reinforcement learning, choose an action based on each data point and later learn how good the decision was. Over time, the algorithm changes its strategy to learn better and achieve the best reward. That means here it changes its decision basing on the situation. So it can be done using the continuous decision making as well as trial and error method. So here we have we can say that here when you are a simple example for you, when you are walking in your place, if you see an ant or anything, if you see an ant, what will be your reaction? Or if you see a cockroach, what will be your reaction? If you see a lizard, what is your reaction? If you see a snake, what will be your reaction? So that is nothing but reinforcement learning. So when you are walking, you will not react similarly if you see these 3 different types of creatures. That is, if you see ant, you will not change the style of your walking, or you will not express it, and you will not tense it. When it is lizard, if it's some people will be frightened about the lizard and they will be going away from it. When you see the snake, you scream and run away from that spot. So there will be lot of change between these actions. There will be lot of change between these actions. So basing on the data, what is the object you have seen there? You have seen an ant, you have seen a lizard, you have seen what you call the snake. So for these three different types of objects, three different types of reactions will be there, and it will be differing from person to person. If he used for that snake, what he'll do, he'll try to kill that snake. He'll bring some weapon or he'll bring some stick in order to kill that snake. If it is a child or some other person who doesn't have any experience about the snakes, what he'll do is just run away from that point and he will inform the elders about it. So there will be different reactions when they are. So that is the nothing but a reinforcement learning. Here we have two different types of situations in reinforcement learning: exploration and exploitation. Here in exploration, you will find more information about the environment, while exploitation exploit the known information with maximum reward. That means here, if it is exploitation, go for the favorite restaurants. That means already you have visited so many restaurants. Among those so many restaurants in your place, you have marked that one or two restaurants as a favorite restaurant, and because of previous experience, you are able to notify that or recognize that that particular restaurant is favorite. Okay. And exploration is trying a new restaurant. Here, trying a new restaurant is you are able to know that there is a new restaurant has been opened in your place, and you don't know the taste of that restaurant, the situation or something else, whatever the things that are in that restaurant. But what you will say that this is newly opened restaurant. Let me try for the new restaurant. That is, see the differentiation between going to your favorite restaurant and that means new restaurant. New restaurant means it is the first time for you to visit that one. And favorite restaurant means already you have visited so many times and you have given a benchmark that this is a favorite one. This is a good one, basing on some parameters. That is the difference between this exploration and exploitation. Okay. So in supervised learning, what things you have to do, you will do prediction, classification, discrete labels will be there, regression also you can do by you can have real values. When it comes to the unsupervised learning, clustering, probability distribution estimation, finding associations, dimensionality reduction can be done in the unsupervised learning. Okay. In supervised learning, you can do identification and verification. Why identification and verification? Already I told you about the example of the semi-supervised learning, where in a webcam you are trying to identify a particular person. So here you will be identifying that some person is there through webcam. If you're peeping through your web, some person is there, you can say that. Then now you need to verify whether that person is so and so or not. Your boss or your colleague or your friend or your family member or something else. So that is verification and identification. Reinforcement learning is decision making comes under the region. Now this is the ARTEC system ARTEC of the supervised learning. Here in this you have the training data samples. So the training data samples can be a text, a small text, or a documents, or images, or sounds. This, it can be any form. It's whatever the form that is there, basing on that form.
Can you just move your slides, please, ma'am? It's still
Hello?
showing types of learning.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Can you move your slides, please? It is showing types of learning.
You are not able to?
Now you are telling about the architecture diagram of supervised learning, but still it is showing the types of learning slide.
Types of learning slide is there.
Yes.
Now you are able to view it. You tell me.
Yes, I am telling. Please, can you move your slide next?
I didn't get your question. Are you able to view the screen, or you want me to repeat that one?
Your screen, yes, your screen is visible, and now it is showing the types of learning: supervised, unsupervised, and semi-supervised learning. It is showing, but I think you have moved. You have proceed further, but your slides are not, the next slides are not showing. That means just, can you just move the slides, please?
Now, what screen you are able
No,
to
ma'am,
see it? What's
the slide is types of learning is there.
only types of learning is there?
Yes.
Okay, it's not moving.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me stop sharing and I will reconnect it again.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Now tell me. Now are you able to see it?
Now it is fine, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Fine. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. See, this is the system architecture of supervised learning. We have different types of input data, that is training data. It can be text, it can be documents, images and sound. So basing on whatever the input that you are taken here, the feature vectors will be displayed here. The feature vectors means what? The parameters what you are choosing. So for example, morning I have said that the apple, orange and ball. So basing on the shape, basing on the color, basing on the texture, you can that is nothing but the feature vector. So these feature vectors are given to a machine learning algorithm. It can be, there are many machine learning algorithms. You have to choose one machine learning algorithm in such a way that this machine learning algorithm will be fitting this data. If it is images, you have to see the, you cannot use machine learning algorithm like decision trees directly. You have to change that image into binary and give input to the machine learning algorithm. So here, this machine learning algorithm is learned here, and labels are given to this machine learning algorithm along with the features. Now you can, the model is ready, and the model is ready for prediction. Predictive model is ready now. You have developed a predictive model. Now for this predictive model, whatever the tested samples are there, no text, whether it is can be text or a document, sound or what, that feature vector will be given to this predictive model, and you will be getting the expected label. So here you will be giving labels, but in when you are going for the prediction or for testing, you will not give the labels. You will remove the labels and give, and your model will predict a label, and now you have to see, in order to search for the accuracy or in order to see the evaluation process, you have to check whether this label is same as the expected label. So whatever the label that is obtained should be same as the label that is original label. Okay. So when it comes to the unsupervised learning, here training, text, documents, images, sounds, same thing will be given. Here you have the feature vectors, but here you will not have labels. If you go to the previous, this one, here you have the labels, but here you will not have the labels in the supervised learning. Only thing is you will be generating a model, and this model will not give a label, but it gives a likelihood or cluster idea, a better representation of the whatever the data that is. That means it groups. For example, I say that there is a class. Class contains 100 people. So now I need to group them into two groups. If the task requires to group them into two, then I will group them in two. Whether I can group them either the person who got less than 40% as failure or fail, and the person who got greater than 40% has a pass. Okay. So if I want to group the students into below average, above average and average, I will group into three. So basing on that one, male or female, pass or fail. So this is called as binary classification, or you are grouping into 2 means binary. If you are grouping into many more, then you can say that it's multiple. Okay. These are the learning techniques. We have seen this is supervised learning categories and techniques. Linear classifier, numerical functions are required. Parametric means probabilistic functions are required. Here, Naive-Bayes, Gaussian, GDA, hidden Markov models, probability graph models are comes under the probabilistic function, which are called as parametric models. If it is non-parametric models, they are called as instant-based models. K nearest neighbor, kernel regression, kernel density regression, local regression, or linear regression, all comes under non-parametric models. Non-metric means symbolic functions that are supposed to be used. Classification and regression trees and decision trees. Aggregation bagging, which contains adder boost, random forces, and boosting, all this comes under the that means whatever the algorithm that are available, we have classified that algorithm into linear classifiers or here linear classifiers, we can also say that regression also, linear regression. Parametric, non-parametric, non-metric aggregation. Okay. So here, when it comes to the supervised learning, you will be using regression, classification, probabilistic estimation. Regression, when you will use regression, when you will use classification, when will you use probability estimation, how you will able to know that you have to supposed to use a regression algorithm here for this problem, how you will be able to know that you need to use classification problem here, how you know you should go for the probability estimation. That means when the function being learned is continuous, if the label is continuous, then you have to go for the regression. That means here what is the temperature today, tomorrow, what is your age? Age, what is your age means the age is continuous. So you have to go for the regression concept. So whether tomorrow will be rainy or not, whether the tomorrow you have college or not, whether tomorrow you will be going out or not, yes or no, it is a discrete, then it is called as classification. When the function being learned is discretized. So when there is no chances, probability, when the output of the function is probability, there can be chance of raining or there may not be chances. There is a 50% of chances, then it is a probability. So in this type of problems, if you have, you will be going for the regression or classification or a probability estimation, like that you will be choosing. So in regression, you have two types, linear regression and multiple regression. Okay. And in classification, you can go for the logistic regression, decision trees, SVM, and Bayesian classification. So here, regression means here, I think you can understand if you go for the example, then we can go in detail. How a problem can be solved. How you will be able to know you have to solve it. Your problem comes under supervised learning, or your problem comes under unsupervised learning, or your problem comes under semi-supervised learning, or your problem comes under the active learning or reinforcement learning. How you will be able to identify if your problem statement is having a question like how much and how many. If you have how much and how many, then you will go for the regression problem. So how much, how many laptops have been sold? Okay, that type of questions are there in your problem statement, then you need to go for regression. So that means here this how you saw this one in regression. What is the temperature today? 26 degrees. What is the age of your kid? 10 years. What is the price of the land? 20. What is your marks? What is your attendance? If you say, are you present here today ante em cheptaru? 1 అని చెప్తారా 2 అని చెప్తారా? We cannot say that one, no. What you will say, are you present means you can say yes or no. You can say yes or no. So is it A or B? Is it A or B? Then it is classification. Are you present today means yes or no. That is a classification problem. So regression and classification are called as supervised learning. So if you have a problem statement how much or how many, it's a regression problem. If it is a problem is A or B, true or false, pass or fail, 1 or 2. Like this, if you have the questions, poisonous or non-poisonous, cancer or non-cancerous, Is it the situation is for favorable for flight landing or not? Those, whether he buys a computer or not, those problems are called as classification problems. So how is organized, how it is organized, that is clustering. How it is organized is clustering. Unsupervised learning. Is this wide anomaly detection? It is semi-supervised learning. Semi-supervised learning. What should I do next? That is reinforcement. Whether you, what you should do if you found a ant beside you, if you found a cockroach beside you, if you found a lizard beside you, if you found a snake beside you, what you have to do next? That is the thing. Okay, that is the active learning. Okay, so this is the regression for problems. If you have questions like this, you can say that this is regression. So these are the list of common machine learning algorithms. That is naive Bayes classifier algorithm. K means clustering algorithm. Support vector missions algorithm, a priori algorithm, linear regression, logistic regression, artificial neural networks, random forest, decision trees, nearest neighbor. These are the common machine learning algorithm. If you say that what are the topmost 10 machine learning, common machine learning, you can get these names. So apart from this, there are many machine learning algorithms, but these are the very common machine learning. Now we'll look into the each machine learning algorithm, and I want to shift to another presentation. Give me a 1 minute time. Is it visible? Anyone can respond? Is it visible?
No, madam.
No,
ma'am.
okay, let me share again.
No, madam. Yes, now it is visible,
Yes,
madam.
Is it visible?
Yes, madam, it is.
Yes, madam.
Okay. So we in detail will go for the supervised learning or classification model. So here see this input data. See this input data. Here input data, all the data is similar, but the class level we need to say whether this is apple or not. So that is the classification. We need to say this, these are apples. We have given in all apples. So in between this one, if you say that we are not able to find out this is an apple, but you simply, if you give the input data and if you question what is this one, that means you are grouping. This one is one group, apples. So for example, here if we have input data, here oranges and apples are there. Okay, so you have built a model. You have built a model. Okay, so this is able to separate how many apples are there, how many oranges are there. And if you want to display it in by using data visualization, apples will be in first plane and or first row, and the oranges will be in second row. So basing on your visualization techniques, you can give the output as first row as apples and second row. Now, if how many are there, if you have a count like this, how many are suppose are apples and how many are oranges, then you can get the count as 6 as apples and 3 as what you call oranges. So what is my intention is, here this is the data set. This is the data set. So morning itself I had told you that basing on the size, color and shape, you can label whether it is an apple, orange or a ball or a tomato. Now here the data set is contains the labels as apple, papaya, guava and pomegranate. Okay. So here the size is small and the colors are there, and red, small and red round shape is apple. So I have defined the apple as round shaped small red color. Okay, I have defined papaya as oval shaped spherical to cylinder, big and yellow as papaya. So anything which is suiting with big yellow and oval shape or speckle, it will be predicting as papaya. Anything with the small red round shape, it is apple. That means I'm telling the mission, if you found this type of parameters, you label this one as apple. So that is nothing but machine learning. What I'm telling the mission, I'm telling the mission that is if the size is small and color is red and round shape, it is an apple. So here, if it is small and green, oval shape, round, pear shape, then I have given it is a guava. Okay, small and pink, round and shaped like a crown is I have given like a pomegranate. So here these are given as input. You will be using some supervised learning and you will be classifying like this. You will be classifying like this. Okay. So this is called as training sample, and this is called as what we called. This is called as future vector. This row is called as future vector. Okay. This label is called as this apple, papaya, guava are called labels. Okay, labels. Okay, and here the machine learning algorithm. This here in this slide, machine learning algorithm is supervised learning algorithm. It can be addition to support vector machine, random forest, or it can be regression, neural networks, anything it can be depending upon whatever the algorithm you have chosen and how it fits to your problem. Okay, so you will be giving and you will be developing a program is nothing but a predictive model. Now new one you will be giving, new label, new data you will be giving. You can give data as a, if you give yellow, green, blue round, then you have to predict and say that what label is generated. You can check it, what label your machine generates it. So this, in this way the classification is done, or supervised learning is done. Okay. Here, next classification problem. Is it hot today? If there is a question like this, your problem contains is it hot today, yes or no, then you can say it's a classification. Is it rainy today, yes or no? Will your kid go to school today, yes or no? It's a classification problem. So if this type of questions, if you are there for your problem, then you can say that you can go for regression or classification problem. Regression or classification problem. So here information based, there are 4 different types of supervised learning techniques. I can say that. Then that means basing on information, basing on the similarity, basing on the probability based, basing on error based. If it is information based, you can use decision trees. Information, if you want to generate some information, you can use decision trees. If it is a similarity based, if it is which will be near to your place, which will be around your place, which is around 80%. The person who is, if the person who is around 80 will be given chance. Okay, nearest neighborhood algorithm, similarity based. Probability based, you can go for the naive based model. Okay, if it is error based, that means if you are able to generate error now, then you can regenerate it to correct it. That is the error based learning. So supervised learning techniques can be classified, categorized into 4 different types of learning techniques. That is information based learning, similarity based learning, probability based learning, error based learning. Okay. So these are the type of we can say that K nearest neighborhood is K. We can say K nearest neighborhood. The naive based classifier, decision support vector functions, random ones, all classification algorithms that are placed. So here now we'll choose the difference between regression and classification. How regression and classification are different. The type of mapping function. If it is a continuous mapping function, then it can go for the regression. If it is a discrete predefined class labels are there, then you can go for the classification. Prediction, you need to predict like predicting data belonging to category of a continuous value, like 23, 34. What is your age? Whether your age is between 50 to 40. or 40 to 50 or 60 to 70. What is your age? That is called, it comes under regression. But predicting data belonging category discrete by either yes or no, or it belongs to A or B or C, or average student, below average student, and above average student. This comes under classification problem. Metric used for the evaluation. You can use root, mean, square. Will be calculated to identify the best fit of the data set. You can use for the classification as a confusion matrix accuracy for in order to best fit of the data set. So how you will measure this performance or metrics for the performance is by using accuracy or confusion matrix for classification. For in case of regression, you will be using root, mean, square, error. Okay, and next is you will be the nature of predicted data. The nature of predicted data is ordered in sequence. Here the nature of the predicted data is unordered. It can be anything. Here what are the algorithms can be used for this regression is linear regression, support vector regression, and the regression trees known as the random forest also used for the regression. When it comes to the classification A-based decision trees, k-nearest neighbor, and support vector missions. There is a difference between support vector missions and support vector regression. Support vector regression is used for when the class label is continuous. Here the support vector missions can be used for when class label is discrete. Okay, so this is the about the you called regression and classification. Now it comes to what is meant by regression analysis. What is meant by regression analysis is one predicting model technique which explores the relationship. That means you should have two continuous variables, and between the dependent variable and one or more independent variable, you will be finding out the other variable. So dependent variable is called as target, or you can say target variable. Independent variables is the predictor. So by using the independent variables, you will be able to find out the target value. This is used for forecasting time series modeling, finding causal effect relationship between the variables. Okay. Here, for example, I'll take few examples for the regression problem. Relation between rash driving and number of road accidents. If there is a rash driving, how many road accidents there can be? That relation also we can find out by the regression. Relation between number of hours studied and marks obtained. Relation between product and number of product. Apple laptop and number of sales. Okay, suppose your manager asks you to predict annual sales. There is be 100 of factors like drivers that are affecting the sales. Annual sales, you have number of factors that are affecting for the sales. That means number of factors means that is the quality of the product, how many products, the location of the product, and all these factors will be affecting the sales. If you want to know if you have more than independent variables, then you have to go for multiple regression. If you have only single independent variable, then you can go for linear. So here mostly types of regression that depends upon number of independent variables. If you have number of independent variables, small number of one, if it is one independent variable, you will go for linear regression. If two independent, logistic. Among these mostly used regression techniques are linear and logistic. More than two, if you have more than two, then you can go for the multilinear regression and multivariate regression. This is depends upon the type of independent variables. Type here number of independent variables, and this is type of independent variables. Type means that is whether continuous or discrete. Any problem? Basing on the shape of the regression line also you will be using you will be choosing the regression model. That means polynomial regression model, Poisson regression model. There are many regression when we study the regression techniques. I have found more than 100 regression techniques that are there in the literature. Support vector regressions, ordinal regression, binomial regression, ridge regression, lasso regression, elastic net regression, all this principal component regression, all these regression techniques are there, but only these techniques are very frequently used regression techniques. Basing on your problem, you have to choose the regression. How to choose the correct regression problem is basing on the data of overfitting, cross validation methods, and whether you have to go for a non-linear model. In case if you have non-linear model, you need to go for the support vector regression can be used. In order to avoid the overfitting, cross validation method can be used to validate the model for the prediction. So in this case, you can reach lasso elastic regression can be correctly used for the to overcome the overfitting issues. Okay, and if you need to apply count data, you should try for this regression techniques. Okay, and if you have a lot of independent variables, you can try for this regression techniques. Okay, so the metric that are used for this evaluation is root square method or root mean square error method can be used for the regression techniques. So this is the formal definition of the regression. That is, linear regression creates a relationship between independent variable and one or more dependent variable y with and one or more independent variable using a best fit straight line. Okay, this is called as regression line, or you can also say that a straight line. So here a dependent variable is a continuous, independent variable can be continuous or discrete. Okay, so it is represented by using y equal to a plus mx plus. See here, all of us know this formula. This is here m is the slope of the line, e is the error term, where a is the intercept. A and m are chosen so that to minimize the error. So you have to minimize the error in such a way that you have to choose the a and m. Here error can be calculated the actual output and predicted output into the square. Okay. These are the regressions in machine learning. So this is an example linear relation between weight and height. If you have height in the x-axis and weight in the y-axis, you will be able to find out the straight line which shows the relation between the weight and height. And if you want to find out, so whatever the input data that is there, you will be basing on that, you will be finding out the straight line. If you want to find out the height, if a height is 145, what will be the weight? So height is 145 means the weight will be around 58. The weight will be around 58. That is the how we can able to find out the linear relationship. So least square method calculates the best fit for observing data by minimizing the sum of the squares of vertical deviations from each data point to the line. Okay, so here in this way we can find out the best fit line. So we can say that there will be many straight lines, but we have to know which is the best fit line for that particular problem, which giving a minimum error. This can be illustrated by using an example. Okay, then you can understand it. So these are the metrics to evaluate the R squared, mean square error, or root mean square error, or mean absolute error are the metrics to, and you can R square can be obtained by using this formula, and mean square can be used by this using this formula, and absolute mean square can be used calculated using this formula. Now next is we can come to the logistic regression. Here logistic regression is used to find the probability of event, whether the event is success or failure. Whether if it is success, you will represent by 1. If it is failure, you will represent by 0. Logistic it will be classifying as binary as a 0 or 1, true or false, yes or no in nature. Okay. Here, how does the probability of getting lung cancer change for every additional pound of person is overweight for every pack of cigarettes smoked per day? chance, what is the probability of if a person is overweighted and if a person is a smoker and smokes cigarettes, every packet of cigarettes smoked per day. That means if he smokes a packet of cigarettes every day, what is the chance of getting lung cancer? That is the problem. By using logistic regression, we can find out this type of problems. Okay, using the sigmoid function, the logistic regression model can be modeled. Okay, and this is the representation of the logistic regression equation. So one thing I want to show you how we can minimize the error. How we can minimize the error. Okay, so this is the Titanic data set. Number of passengers survived. The target variable is whether it's, if there are not survived, it is represented as 0, and if they are survived, they is represented by 1. Okay, so this is the program in Python. It is represented. You will be able to represent this number of the accuracy or the performance of this algorithm using confusion matrix. So, okay, so this is the confusion matrix where you can find out the number of positive, negatives, and true positive. So this confusion matrix later, after covering a little bit more information about the regression, then we can go for the confusion matrix. Let me cover this example of this regression. So see this one, see the price of the TV. Here we have 3 different sizes of TVs. One is small TV, one is medium size, and one is bigger TV. Here small TV price is given, bigger one large TV size also given. So in this case, basing on this linear regression, we'll try to find out, because linear regression is uses the straight line to be fit. So basing on this one, you will be able to find out this one, what is medium one. So you, in this regression, you will be plotting. So here the size is given here, and rate is given in the y-axis. Size is given in the x-axis and rate is given in the. So what is the best estimate of this TV is 80,000 or 1,20,000 or 1,90,000. So basing on this one, because you can draw a straight line, and this you can say that 1,20,000 is the best rate you can estimate for the TV, basing on this straight line. So here, what I mean to say here in this example, this is the straight line. Here you have a points. So this straight line, in order to find out the error between these points and the straight line, you will be measuring like this. Black lines tells that error between these 3 points. Okay, and if the line position is changed like this, you will be estimating with yellow lines. So that error is, it is giving an error of this much. Next, if we change the straight line, then the error is this much. So among these 3 straight lines, which one is the best? The third one is best, because it gives the least amount of error. It gives the least amount of error. So in this way, the error linear regression techniques, basing on the best fit. How can you say that among these 3, the small yellow line is the best fit of this problem? So this is the best fit. Next, coming to the classification problem. Detecting spam emails is a very good example for the classification problem. We can use, what type of technique you can use is naive Bayes. Here we have spam emails. These are non-spam emails. Now what is our problem? Our problem is detect the spam emails. So we are giving a query, or we are giving a conditions, any email without subject is given as the spam emails. So here this non-spam, this is non-spam, and we have labeled as without any subject. So here without subject, how many are the if the email does not contain subject, what is the probability of being spam? 40%, 60% or 80%? Here 5 are there, here 20 are there. So what is that? Being spam is 80%. If this can be solved by if email does not contain the subject, the probability of it being spam is 80%. So here we are giving without subject 80% of chances of detecting as a spam emails. If there is spelling mistakes, then 70% of chance of detecting it is as a spam emails. If the address is not there, 95% of chance is there for the spam emails. So in this way, we can do it by using a naive-Bayes algorithm. So if this problem is like this, then you can do a naive-Bayes algorithm. Now we'll go for another example, very interesting example. Why I'm telling with this example is you can easily understand and you can motivated to use this machine learning algorithms for prediction or forecasting or in your research also. Okay. So this is recommendation of TV channels. In this recommendation, what is our class label? Our class label is to recommend TV channels. How many class labels are there? We have 4 different types of class label. First one is CVR spiritual, and second one is Cartoon Network. Third one is G Telugu, and fourth one is sports. So basing on the gender and age, we are recommending the TV channels to the persons. If his gender is female and age is 56, then we are recommending her with, you can see CVR spiritual. If it is a male and 62 age, then we can recommend, even though here what happens is, even though here gender will not come into the picture, because basing on the age only we are putting, whether it's male or female, because it's the senior citizens we are recommending, they will be interested to view the spiritual. Here male or female, irrespective of the gender, even though they are less than 10 years, then we are recommending them to see Cartoon Network. Here middle age, that is 28-33 years, for if it is female they will look at G Telugu, if it is male they will go for the Star Sports. When it comes to male 13 also Cartoon Network, female 40 also G Telugu, male 25 also G Telugu. Here we need to get the information. Now here we can use between gender and men, which seems to be more decisive for the predicting what channel will be the preferred, whether age or gender. Irrespective of the gender, basing on the age, they are preferring. Okay, irrespective of gender, here gender, but basing on the age, they are preferring the TV channel. So age will become the root node. Here age will be recurrent. So now we can say that this can be split into less than 13 and more than 13. If they are less than 13, irrespective of the gender, whether maybe female or a male, they will look at the Cartoon Network. If it is age is greater than 13, they will look at, they will be classified as greater than 13 and less than 56. That is his middle age. Greater than 56 is irrespective of the age, irrespective of the gender. If the age is more than 56, they will be viewing spiritual. Irrespective of the gender, if the age is less than 13, they will view Cartoon Network. That is decided. Next is here, if it is in between 13 to 56, in between, if it is a female, she will be recommended with G Telugu. If it is male, recommended with the Star Sports. Okay. So a boy who is having less than 13 years will be recommended to view Cartoon Network. A person who is age is between 13 to 56, and if he is a male, he is recommended to view Cartoon Network. If a person is greater than 56 years, he is recommended to see the spiritual. If it is a lady between 13 to 56, she is recommended to go for the G Telugu. So what you have to conclude from this one is, if you have this type of recommendation, you need to go for the decision trees. So this is because you have two parameters, like two attributes. You are easily able to identify that what is supposed to be the root node. What is supposed to be the root node? Because age is given preference, we have given the root node and we have split it accordingly. But in case of when you go for this algorithm, when you go for the decision algorithm, this is called as root node and this is called as attribute selection. So the attribute selection can be done basing on the formula which is called as entropy. Okay, so here in decision trees also there are many methods like C4.5, ID3 and CAT. C4.5, if you have C4.5, you will be using a measure which is called as information gain in order to calculate the attribute. Okay. So basing on this, whatever the decision tree you are using, basing on that one, you will be able to calculate the, and it will be data driven. Okay. So this is about the decision trees. Next is, see this one, another important thing, important algorithm. You have red spots, you have green spots. So now we are trying to find out a plane which separates this green spots from red spots very clearly. Which will be the better line? So we will calculate the error. So the basing on the error, you can say that the best one is the black one because the error is less. So here you can go for the linear optimization in order to say this one. So how linear optimization comes to the picture is by using support vector missions. Support vector missions will be trying to separate positive records from negative records. So these are the class labels. If you think this is a positive class label, this is negative, this is negative, this is positive. So you will be separating these two by using this black line is called as hyperplane, and this hyperplane is used to separate this two class labels. Okay. So here red dot line is called as margin, and this is also margin. So in order to classify in a better way, you have to maximize the margin. You have to maximize the margin of the what you call hyperplane. That is the rule that is in the support vector mission. So here, if you have a dots like this, how can you separate it? So this black line is unable to separate these 2 points. Okay. If you have put the blank, it's unable to separate. If you have put this one also, it's unable. Here also you are unable to. Here also you are unable to. But how can you separate? You can use like this curve. It is called as separation, and this is called as Canal trick. This is called as Canal trick. Canal trick is nothing but it will be changing the position of your hyperplane, changing the position from hyperplane from one dimension to another dimension. So here this is like this. So this is the actual dimension, but it will be projecting into this plane. So this is the way you can separate. This is the way you can separate. Okay. So these are the curve and this is a plane. Okay, but they both are same. But what you are doing is you are using a kernel trick which separates that red dot lines from green dot lines by changing its dimensions. It is projected to high dimension. It is projected to dimension. How it can happen is Canal trick. This is the canal trick. Which equation is more suitable for this one? You have these points, no? So what will be the more, in order to, if you do Here, if you do x plus y, all you got 3. All you got 3. It's not suitable, but only thing is can be separated here. Green got 2 and red got 2. So you can use an equation that is x into y, which is a canal trick, which can be separate the red dots from green dots by changing its hyperplane. Okay, this is the how it can be done. See this one. This is the how. So this is how it is done with this is here the all are in same plane, but here how we can use is by using canal trick. You will be changing the dimensions. Okay. This is how we can do it. But this I have represented this support vector missions and canal regression, as well as decision trees, naive Bayes algorithm, 4 algorithms in a pictorial way. But when it comes to the algorithm, we'll go for the algorithm. Are you able to see the screen? Can any one of you respond?
No, ma'am.
Screen is not visible.
Yeah, okay. 1 minute. Give me 1 minute so that I can share it. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Yeah, support vector missions. So I want to go in detail with the support vector missions. See, this is the hyperplane which separates the positive and negative things. So here in this screen, you are able to see the stars and dots. Okay, so the stars and dots are separated by using the hyperplane. Okay, stars and dots are separated by the hyperplane. So here, when it comes to this one, separating hyperplanes are many here. like one is green line is there, black line is there, and another one is purple line is there, or red line is there. Among these, which is the best fit line in order to separate the stars and dots? So there may be many possible separating hyperplanes. It could be this one or this or maybe. So how to choose this one? So we need to choose in such a way that it gives a good generalization aspect. That is what is meant by generalization means you should, for an unseen data, that means the test data, if it gives a good performance on test data, then you can say that it is a good generalization or it is good for the generalization. Then there is no point of misclassification. There is no point of misclassification. So all the classification or classified objects, whether it can be star or a dot, they are supposed to be classified in a better way, in a correct way. That means the above this hyperplane stars are there. Above this hyperplane stars are there. So star, when you are predicting or classifying, it should show that star is also in the above hyperplane. Then it can say that it is a good generalization. So if your hyperplane is giving poor generalization or poor performance on unseen data, then it is not good. So we have to check hyperplane generalization when you are choosing this one. So when you go for this one, good one, hyperplane should have far possible for any sample point. That means therefore, in order to perform classification without misclassification, that means good generalization, the line should be much far from the points of both the sides. So in order to give good generalization, margin comes into the picture. Okay, this is the margin comes into the picture. So SVM idea is to maximize the distance between the hyperplane. Hyperplane is the closest sample point. So in this, optimal hyperplane is supposed to be chosen. So the distance to the closest negative point and the distance to the closest positive point should be far. Okay, then only we can say that this type of problems are called as linear separable cases. Okay, they are called as linear separable cases. So choosing the separating hyperplane, the goal is to maximize the margin. So you can, this is called as margin. So this should be twice as the distance d between the separating hyperplane and closest points. So this is the hyperplane, and the margin of this particular point is d, and this particular. So it will be done. Then only we can say that it has a good and strong generalization capability, and it can perform better on unseen data or test data. It can perform better on unseen data or test data. These are the we cannot say we cannot complete all the algorithms, but I have given very brief introduction and very brief idea about each algorithm, how and where they are used, mostly for the research problems. So basing on this inputs, you can explore yourself for your research, as well as to become expertise in the machine learning area. Okay, so I think I'm end to the session, and if any one of you are having any type of questions, please ask me. No questions? Anyone can respond.
Ma'am, I have one doubt, ma'am.
Yeah.
Actually in COVID-19, all the research papers were based on only deep learning, ma'am. But when you are looking at this machine learning, we have so many algorithms, so many predictions, and I think we can gain so much accuracy. But still, everybody using only deep learning. Why, ma'am? What is the reason?
If they are going for the image, if you are taking image as an input, they will go for deep learning.
Okay.
And the most of the bases that are supposed to be covered is from machine learning only.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. For deep learning, for convolution neural networks, there is no need of extracting the features. In the one of the layer itself, it extracts the features and it will be giving the output, and that is automatically done.
Okay, ma'am.
So if you give an image as a cat and dog, and if you ask that your deep learning algorithm to classify it whether it is a cat or dog, basing on the features of cat and basing on the features of a dog, it will be accurately classify it. So it has a lot of optimization and activation functions in order to say it. So much more depending upon the complexity of the data you are giving as input, the algorithm. And as well as you cannot perform all the deep learning task in a whatever the specification desktop you have. If it is a GPU, you can do it much better with much accuracy and much speed.
Ma'am, what is the main difference between machine learning and deep learning, ma'am? I think GP, ma'am, is the answer is right, ma'am?
Yeah, that is one thing, but the input differs. Input algorithm, the approach, the parameters. Deep learning is nothing but neural networks. The number of layers increases. You will get to,
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am,
yes,
hello.
yes.
Ma'am, in CNN, just now you said that in CNN, no need to extract features. So we need to apply large database as an input, means large database of images as an
Yes,
input to
yes,
train our algorithm, right? So
yes.
my question is it, I mean, CNN supports only JPG files or it supports all kind of images? Because we have JPG, bitmap images, even we have different kind of resolutions with the images. So is it allowed? I mean, CNN supports all type of these images or it supports only specific type of images?
It doesn't mean that this algorithm supports this image. We cannot say that, but we can say one thing, that is, it depends upon the complexity, size, resolutions, everything comes into the picture. Everything comes into the picture. I have worked with the fingerprint. Okay, I have worked with the fingerprint for convolution neural networks. For fingerprint itself, when you are extracting the features, it occupies a lot of space. Got it? So I cannot able to give more than 100 fingerprints at a time with my system specifications. That you need to go for your, depends upon your system specifications and the operating system you are using. Can I leave, organizers?
Yeah, I'm sure, ma'am. Ma'am, thank you, ma'am. From morning to till now, you have covered so much information related to machine learning, ma'am. I think you have covered almost all the algorithms in machine learning, and you also covered the deep learning basic concept. Thank you so much, ma'am. Once again, definitely, I hope we'll call you again for the deep.
Okay,
I
thank you.
would say we're very satisfied, ma'am.
Thank you
Thank you
all
so
the
much.
participants and organizer for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. It's a wonderful session, ma'am. We are